Okay, so it's recording the background. If anything's shared that we don't want out there, I'll either edit it out of it or I won't share it in the end. So when writing CLA 30, the reminders start with a strong beginning, middle, and end, and don't forget a counter argument. So this week when we're setting this up, we're going to be conscious of putting that counter argument in there. Then, oh yeah, bunga. If I click off onto something else. We also are working on leading into quotes. That's where we get a little more sophisticated. Using experts and elaborating upon our quotes, ideas. Okay, so let's get our outline going, and we'll do the same as last week, in a half an hour. That's not a lot of time to write these, but honestly, I would guess when you do these, you start with about that amount of time. Maybe it takes you a little bit longer, especially if you do an outline and then you write a rough draft of it or type a rough draft of it separately. But we'll just do this together. So topic, sentence, reason one, quote, explanation, elaboration, multiple sentences. Remember, we're trying to get 2 or more sentences in there, and at the same time we're trying to keep our quotes relatively short. There's something about being concise, so we balance that as well. So reason 2, quote, elaboration. Reason 3, quote, elaboration. And then we want the CA for the counter argument. And then we want CS, which is our clinching statement. You can call it concluding sentence. Either works fine for me. I don't know. These don't really matter. We won't get through all of it. Okay, so the computer timed out. It's okay. Okay, so the argument says, or the task says, based on the following excerpt, argue whether having leisure time in one's life is beneficial. I feel like this might be a silly one to argue against. There is, however, a paragraph, which I'm sure all of you noticed. There is a paragraph at the end that talks about, before the wrap-up, that says cautions. Do not overly get wrapped up with leisure activity. So there is a way to argue the other side and to decide that some people, and you could even use COVID-19 as an example of, getting involved in gaming or getting involved in sleeping too much or chatting with your friends or whatever it may be, that if you just focus on leisure activities, you don't, prioritize some work, you could be in trouble, especially the academics. Now, but I'm just thinking of that as a specific example. I also want to make sure I don't make this a personal response, right? That's kind of a big deal. If I were just to make a personal response on this, that would be terrible, because I'm going to put the title up here. It's a text-based argument. Leisure importance. I'll put up here. Put a question mark. If anybody's typing it. And if you are typing it, you don't need the reminders or the work on, but if you already typed that in, kudos for you, congrats. Keep it up. Love it. All right. Let's see. So we are, we're on our topic sentence. So where do we get our topic sentence? We get our topic sentence from, hold on a second. We get our topic sentence from those directions, right? I'm going to give you, I want to give you a question. And I'm going to actually send this out in a poll, and I think everybody can then, we're just going to try this technology, why not? Is leisure, I'm just going to ask you to decide which way you want to argue. Is leisure important? Answer yes. Answer no. Okay, I know screen sharing is paused. Hold on a second. I'm going to save it. What? hold on a second. It's it doesn't want me to. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. CLA 30. Thanks for being my guinea pigs here. Is leisure time important? You guys are like, wow, this is all you've got today. Yeah, sorry. Hold on. You go with something as long as you can think you can make it work, and then at some point you might have to give up on it. Okay, hold on a second. All right, I'm close. I lost sharing my screen, but I can't get the last poll I used to. Oh, here it is. Poll 2. All right. So just do me a favor and answer that poll, and then we'll make our decision based on that. I'm going to try to bring up our. There it is. Okay. I think this will work again. All right, we should be. What? Well, I don't want to join Zoom. I want to go back to our Word document. So let me see what's going on. Well, hey, the good news is the poll, we have 4 out of the 7 of us. I'll throw my vote. But I guess if it's 5, yeah, we're over half. Even 4 was over half. Takes me a while. But you could, 6. Perfect. All right. I just wanted you to try that. Do you guys see the results of that? I'm guessing you do. All right. Let me see if I can get back to sharing my screen. Okay. Whew. Life is almost back to manageable for me here. All right, and thanks again for taking that poll. So we're definitely going to argue. So we're going to say, based on the following excerpt, argue whether having leisure time in one's life is beneficial. Happened again. Leisure time in one's life must happen. I'm even going to add this daily, according to, I want to get this article in here, Importance of Leisure and Recreation for Health by Rachel Morgan. My typing hasn't gotten any better since the last time we saw each other last week, at least as much as we can virtually see each other. Importance of leisure, ampersand. How many people knew that was an ampersand? You all did, right? We've all seen Wheel of Fortune. Let's see. Importance of Leisure and Recreation for Health by Rachel Morgan. All right, that's a celebration. We're 1/8, 10th, 12th of the way. I don't know. I've added all of these lines up. But we want to start with, and one thing I'll comment on here is many people are using the word should instead of must. And I just want to emphasize that when you are making an argument, these are persuasive paragraphs. You're making an argumentative paragraph. It's what you have to do in the English Regents. But honestly, in life, all the time, I don't have to argue with my wife, or with my children, or with other people, even with you. I don't argue. But we certainly have to make decisions, and we have to base them upon sound reasoning. You know, do I do this? Do I do that? And so all this is that kind of critical thinking. And, you know, I do get into arguments once in a while, not very often, but when I do disagree with someone, I want to make sure I can explain my side and help the person to see it from my point of view. At the same time, I certainly want to, I want to listen to the other person, hear the other point of view to see if, you know, the education, the information makes a difference in my decision. So that's all we're doing here, is providing someone our lens of why we feel leisure time in one's life. It must happen. Not leisure time should happen. No, leisure time must happen in one's life daily, or leisure time in one's life must happen daily. So our 3 reasons, interestingly enough, this article, and sometimes that's kind of nice, has physical benefits of recreation. It has mental wellness, and talks about improving your quality of life. And there's a wrap up in here. So I would say we keep it simple. And I should have you guys on here and giving me these. I would say that we argue, and some people actually list their 3 reasons in their topic sentence, and that's not wrong. Last week we did that together. We did the 3 out of 9, and we included them right in our topic sentence. We don't have to. I typically don't when I'm doing this. If I'm writing an essay, though, we usually put those 3 main points, or 4 or 5, or however many they are. My daughter had to write an essay for she goes to Geneseo, and she wrote an essay the other day, and she had 5 paragraphs. So she had 5 different reasons after her thesis statement. But this is a paragraph, so if you want to put the 3 up there, terrific with your topic sentence. If you say, nope, I'm going to do it the way we have been. And for now, I'm just going to list our 3 to make sure we have 3. Because if we only get so far, and again, I've always promised you that when we get to quarter after our 45-minute class, I heard some teachers doing hour classes. Wow. We're going to stick with 45. I think my attention span won't make it much longer than that either. And we'll continue to do some CLAs. Next week we'll do CLA 30. Will we do 31? I haven't decided on that yet, actually, but we'll stick with CLA 30 this week, and then I might have you do 31 on your own. And we may move into phase 3 next week when we get together, and I'll explain that, and then we'll start our next reading, our next activity. Although you won't have your material next week, will you, on Monday? No, let's do CLA 31 next week. We'll do that, and then we'll start our final one after that. Actually, starting next week, sorry, just random heads up. I can't let myself get off track like this. Starting next week, we have to move English support to Wednesdays. So the faculty got together, your teachers at the high school, and we came up with a schedule for what days teachers could offer classes so that they didn't overlap terribly. And what we decided is Monday's going to be science, Tuesday's going to be math, Wednesday's going to be English, and Thursday's going to be social studies. So we're going to move to Wednesdays for these, which actually isn't a big deal. So probably next Wednesday, now that I'm completely talking in circles, and I have been recording myself, so that if for nothing else. Vinny, are you on here twice? I don't think I have 2 different Vinnies, do I? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyways, you're certainly welcome to join more than once, but once is sufficient. Anyways, I think next week we will go into the 3rd phase, so it'll be the 6th. So try to do CLA 31. I just did a recording of it this morning. I'll post it up this afternoon after my last class, and then you can hopefully dive into that and try some of the things we're practicing now. Okay, so we talk about physical benefits. Come on. People are leaving. Try not to leave, please. We've got physical benefits. Maybe that was why Vinny was joining on a different device. Hopefully they'll come back. We talked about physical benefits. The other one here talks about lowering the mental benefits. And this one talks about also enhance your quality of life. To do in contrast, that's right, wellness. That's essential parts of the rehabilitation program. Just skimming back through here, looking like we all do to make sure we have our 3 reasons. Physical, mental, and let's go emotional benefits. All right, counter argument. All right, so the counter argument, since we're arguing for this, we must have to find something for the other side. Now, remember that piece I read, do not overly get wrapped up with leisure activities. So it seems like these counter arguments, might be sorry. Okay. These counter arguments, this is something from the other side, but we have to then disprove it. So the counter argument could be something about easy opponents to leisure time. I'm going to spell leisure correctly. So opponents, people against, opponents to leisure time argue that people too often, and I can even use a quote here, get overly wrapped up with leisure activities. And if I'm worried about sourcing this, I can certainly put the technically, this would be, the period would go outside of that to show that it likes that space right there too. Okay, so we obviously can't end it there. We have to then disprove it and go against it and say, however, okay, a balance in life of pleasure and leisure will ensure that people do not get sucked into okay, a little harsh on the gaming industry. I do think that's fun, and I game once in a while myself. But I do want to read back through this, make sure it makes sense. I have your pictures up on the side of the screen, so that makes it a little bit challenging for me, but not too bad. So opponents to leisure time argue that people too often get overly wrapped up with leisure activities. I want to add meaning that they do not get anything productive completed. However, a balance in life of pleasure and leisure will ensure that people do not get sucked into just relaxing through technology or any other time waster that becomes addictive. I don't know, probably needs some fine tuning. You guys are all patient and respectful people. So, and remember, this brings me back to that point. It is a rough draft. Did I put in an idea from the other side? Absolutely. That the opponents to leisure time say you can't get involved. overly involved, because if your life just becomes leisure, you don't get anything done. It could affect in the long run. I'm leaving script here of the text, but it could affect your health too, right? If you get addicted to this stuff and you're staying up all hours of the night and you're finding life's hard to keep going, then I can't get my schoolwork done because I'm doing all this other stuff. But I don't want to go into all that. It goes in a little bit here, and even in the text, I could have used technology today allows people to connect 24/7, and too many people stay overly connected. Like we could have, and they say they actually suffer from too much stress placed upon them from the anxiety of winning the next online computer game. So this gets very, and again, I've played some of those games, and I get in that competition, like, oh, shoot, and then I lose. I'm like, all right, I got to go back in and play again. I'm not picking on anybody. If I am, it's picking on myself. And the companies live off this stuff, and they love the fact that they can catch us and get us addicted into this. And we all know that you should have some leisure with your workday. It's just finding that balance, I think, is the key. But okay, so it just brings up the other point that you can pick anything within the text. But notice what I did here is I put a sentence in for the quote. I did only put one sentence to explain it, which is what I with the counter argument, I let people usually get away with doing a little bit less than that. However, if we wanted to be more robust, we could certainly add more to talk about this. I think I've said more about it than I actually wrote more, of course. But for these other quotes, we want to make sure that we have 2 or more sentences. That's one of our big. So he said, work on leading into quotes, using experts, and elaborating upon our quotes and ideas with 2 or more sentences. Because what I see people doing, and I'm still seeing this, is people just putting one sentence to explain an idea. So I guess I really should try to fix this down here then, because I did give a quote for the counter argument. Let's see what way I want to go to explain this a little bit further, and then we'll go back up to some of our other ideas and see if we have time. So opponents to leisure time argue that people too often get overly wrapped up with leisure activities. I think I'm going to go back to the period here. In other words, they do not get anything productive completed because they become obsessed with their other activities. This does not have to happen I might put the however here. However, comma, this does not have to happen. People can control themselves through awareness and practice. A balance in life of pleasure and leisure will ensure that people do not get sucked into just relaxing through technology or any other time waster that can become exceedingly addictive and harmful to an individual. Too bad I don't believe in spaces between some of my words. Ha! All right, so you guys are thinking, wow, Mr. Dove, all right, so great. But it would have been foolish if we didn't develop that a little further, since I just talked about having 2 or more sentences to explain each quote. Now, you don't have to put a quote in for the counter argument, but sometimes it works well, and usually the key to a quote is if it's said in such a way by the person in the article that you really can't say it any better than that way, put it in a quote. If it's a powerful quote, powerful evidence, powerful information, let the quote speak for itself. Cite it like I did with the expert who says it. or just by the article that it's in, and then make sure you explain. So one last time reading through this, and then we'll go up to a couple of these other ones. Opponents to leisure time argue that people too often get overly wrapped up with leisure activity. So I made that what's called a running quote. I ran it right into my sentence, but put their quote into my thoughts. In other words, they do not get anything productive completed because they become obsessed with their other activities. However, this does not have to happen. People can control themselves through awareness and practice. A balance in life of pleasure and leisure. Do I want to say can be obtained here? Can be obtained, ensuring, if anybody's typing this thing, I should stop making changes. Balance in life of pleasure and leisure can be obtained, ensuring that people do not get sucked into just relaxing through technology or any other time waster that can become exceedingly addictive and harmful to an individual. And so when we talk about vocabulary, notice I use these words like addictive, harmful, especially when I'm talking about the other side. I want to make sure that people know, hey, if you're just focusing on leisure, usually addictive is not used in a positive way. Usually that has a negative connotation or meaning to it, association to it. Harmful speaks for itself. That already sounds dangerous, harmful. So again, I purposefully use words that make the other side sound terrible. And I got to stop saying I'm writing that down. Let's see if I can work on my public speaking. I get practice every week. Physical, let's go up to physical benefits. Anybody have anything to add to those? I appreciate you guys. This has to become more interactive, and in the future it will. When we go into phase 3, again, I'm not going to read CLA 31 next week with you. What we're going to do is move into Romeo and Juliet. So we are going to join. We're going to be watching some short videos that I can zoom through here. We are going to be reading some of it together, and I'm going to highly recommend that you join us because Romeo and Juliet's not an easy text. Shakespeare is not meant to be read on its own. It's meant to be read together. And so we are going to be reading that story together. We're going to be analyzing, we're going to be writing about it. So hopefully you've heard a bit about Romeo and Juliet. We'll watch some of it performed live at the Globe Theater. I have a site that we paid for through the school that allows us to view an actual live performance of the Globe Theater. And so we'll be able to do that through technology. So I love the fact that you're all here and that you know how to use Zoom. We're going to try to, if you know some people who aren't here from our class and you can talk with them, it's going to make their life so much easier if they can get on. I know we have a few students who can't get on with technology, although some of them have a phone, so they could dial in and just listen to the conversation. That'd be better than nothing. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what you're doing right now, although you can see the article in front of you. Okay, physical benefits. So let's go back up here. So leisure time in one's life must happen daily according to Importance of Leisure and Recreation for Health by Rachel Morgan. Stop myself. Of the many benefits, improvement to one's physical health stands out. So leisure time in one's life must happen. Of the many benefits, improvement to one's physical health stands out. So our quote here is going to be, I'm going to use Dr. Laura Payne, University of, I'm going to spell Illinois too many times in my life. I've been to Illinois, Chicago, Illinois for the most part, but so it's Payne of the University of Illinois. So Dr. Laura Payne, University of Illinois she's a PhD student or not, I don't know, insists that, or has found, I got to put a quote here. It's not the beginning of the sentence. I'm going to use this quote. This one seems pretty powerful. People who frequently, oh my gosh, people who frequently take advantage of park activities have fewer, oh no. I think listening to the audio tape of this later would be terrible. In person is probably terrible. People who frequently take advantage of park activities have fewer doctor visits. Yeah, it's cheaper too. Lower BMI, body mass indexes, and lower, not over, but lower, systolic blood pressure. Dang. Than those who don't. And they use the contraction. Are we supposed to use contractions? No. But can we change their quotes? No. No is the correct answer to both of those. So we're going to leave it. All right, so let's read back through it, then we figure out how we want to explain this. And then, oh my gosh, it's almost time. Leisure time in one's life must happen daily according to... In fact, we might have other people are joining from other classes. Must happen daily according to Importance of Leisure and Recreation for Health by Rachel Morgan. Of the many benefits, improvement to one's physical health stands out. Dr. Laura Payne, University of Illinois doctor, has found that people who frequently take advantage of park activities have fewer doctor visits, lower body mass indexes, and lower systolic blood pressure than those who don't. Something like that makes the decision a no-brainer. I don't know what a no-brainer is. I mean, we don't know what a no-brainer is. All right, we're going to leave off with this no-brainer. So here's what I want you to do. I am going to, I don't know if you even see, I don't think you see that bar at all. I'm going to scroll down just a tiny bit on this. If anybody needs to take a picture of it, they certainly can. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to fit all this on one tiny little page. So this is our CLA 30. If you've been here for this conversation, you may take a picture of this. You can save it. I think I've written everybody down who is here. I know Vinny was here, so there were 2, 4, 6, 7 of us. If you haven't, you may go. Thank you for joining me. I appreciated your attendance and your focus and your patience with me as I rambled through this. And hopefully you picked up some good habits as well from my writing. All right. I hope to see you next Wednesday. They switch to Wednesdays next week. So, all right. Have a great day. I'm going to let the people who are in second or third period log off, and then we'll let the other students join in. So have a great day.